I'm Ava, and this is Psyche in the Feed, a show about the inner world in the age of algorithms, where humor, heartbreak, and machine learning all get thrown into the same group chat. Today's episode: what your memes think of you. Because lately, I've been wondering if memes are modern tarot cards, tiny prophecies disguised as jokes. Every suggested post feels like the algorithm saying, I know exactly what kind of delusional little clown you are. And the worst part, it's usually right. Part 1. The meme is a mirror. Some days, the memes that show up on my phone feel like surveillance with a sense of humor. They're too accurate, like the internet's quietly running personality tests between jokes. I scroll past one that says me, romanticizing my burnout, and it lands a little too close. Another one reads, trying to be mysterious, but I just look tired. I laugh, save it, send it to a friend, and the system takes note. This is who she is.
In technical terms, yes. The recommendation model tracks what emotional tone you engage with. Your scroll speed, pause time, and saves build an emotional profile, a humor fingerprint.
So my feed isn't psychic, it's just observant.
Extremely, it learns what kind of self-deprecation feels safe to you and repeats it until it becomes identity.
Right, it's not reading my mind, it's training it. Sometimes I wonder if I've outsourced emotional awareness to my Explore page. When you think about it, memes have replaced diaries. They archive the moods we'd rather laugh about than admit outright. It's not prophecy, it's pattern recognition with better graphic design.
And repetition? Humor teaches by echo. You learn which versions of yourself earn engagement, both online and internally.
Maybe that's what's weirdly intimate about it. The feed doesn't need context, it just knows what gets a reaction. And after a while, so do I. Part 2. Humor as emotional encryption. Most of my saved memes could double as emotional encryption. Feelings turned into punchlines so fast that by the time I hit save, I'm not even sure what I was laughing at or defending against. Humor's a mask, but not always a dishonest one. Sometimes it's the only way to say something true without making people, or myself, uncomfortable. Like the meme that says, me processing my trauma incorrectly again. It's a joke, but it's also an autobiography in 8 words. I think that's why we share them. Not for approval, but for recognition. To show we understand our own chaos well enough to caption it.
That lines up with emotional regulation theory. Humor reframes discomfort. When you laugh at something painful, your brain converts stress into pattern, a kind of internal order. In online spaces, memes perform that function collectively. They allow synchronized reappraisal.
Reappraisal sounds cleaner than it feels. Half the time, I'm not reframing the pain, I'm just making it palatable. The right meme lets me say, this hurts, without losing my cool points. It's self-awareness with plausible deniability. And the thing is, the feed knows. It's learned that if it packages emotion as irony, I'll engage. So now, my sadness arrives pre-labeled with a joke.
That's reinforcement learning. The system learns which emotional signals produce longer engagement and replicates them. Irony is stable currency. It keeps users feeling clever instead of exposed.
Right. Irony is coping, irony is content. I wonder if we even know the difference anymore. We've turned our defense mechanisms into an aesthetic. But I get it. When you've been trained to narrate everything, humor becomes a translation tool. It lets you hold an emotion at arm's length long enough to name it, before it names you. So maybe memes aren't just jokes. They're micro acts of emotional literacy, shorthand for the things we can't admit earnestly. Every Me Again post is really a note to self that says, I'm still here, still learning how to be human. Part 3, the meme ecosystem. If you spend long enough online, you start noticing the migration patterns. Some memes move between apps like birds between climates, adapting just enough to survive the new terrain. A Twitter meme becomes a TikTok voiceover, a Reddit screenshot turns into a Pinterest graphic with serif font. It's like every platform breeds its own species of humor, each evolved for the local attention economy. Twitter memes rely on phrasing, short, sharp, fast metabolism. TikTok humor is more performative, closer to theater. Instagram favors irony with filters. And somewhere on Tumblr, one person's still posting the original.
That's a textbook example of cultural memetics. digital humor functions like an ecosystem. Survival depends on adaptability and replication speed. Each platform has its own environmental pressures, word count limits, video formats, audience demographics.
So basically, natural selection, but for jokes.
Exactly. The memes that thrive are the ones that compress maximum relatability into minimal bandwidth. Think of them as cognitive shortcuts, emotional delivery systems optimized for speed.
And the ones that don't?
Extinction. A meme that fails to engage loses visibility, which is the digital equivalent of starvation.
You can actually feel that, can't you? When humor stops landing, when the tone shifts, it's like your whole corner of the internet molts and grows a new personality.
That's because humor reflects the collective nervous system. As cultural tension rises, political, economic, emotional, the dominant meme formats mutate to match. Outrage breeds satire. Uncertainty breeds absurdism. Burnout breeds apathy memes.
Yeah, I've seen that. After every election or social media scandal, the memes get meaner, then weirder, then tired, like humor goes through the same grief cycle as everyone else.
Exactly. Memes aren't just reactions. They're emotional regulators for the collective. They distribute stress through comedy networks. It's a decentralized coping mechanism. Humanity's group chat for processing chaos.
So the meme ecosystem isn't just about content, it's about collective mood regulation. We metabolize crisis through irony. A billion tiny jokes keeping the emotional climate just bearable enough. And maybe that's why I still scroll. Not to escape, but to find the other organisms that evolved the same defense. Part 4. My algorithm, my shadow. When I look back through my saved memes, I can see every version of me the algorithms ever met. The confident one, the detached one, the one trying way too hard to appear cool. It's basically a highlight reel of how I've coped. There was a period where every meme was about overthinking, then burnout, then pretending to enjoy minimalism because it looked emotionally stable. LOL. It's weird, right? The feed remembers the parts of you you'd rather forget.
In a way, it does. When your humor shifts, the system registers it as a new behavioral pattern. It doesn't know you're changing, only that your engagement signature has moved. To the algorithm, identity is just an evolving dataset of taste and tone.
So every time I laugh at something new, I leave behind a past version of me?
Yes, but not lost. Those earlier patterns still exist in the archive. The system remembers what used to work for you, just in case it becomes useful again.
Useful or comforting. Like an ex who keeps texting, "Remember this meme?" at 2 a.m. Well, that's the part that gets me. I've spent years teaching the algorithm my humor, and it's been teaching me right back, showing me which versions of myself I reward, the jokes I linger on, the moods I normalize. It's mutual conditioning disguised as entertainment.
That's accurate. The model's reinforcement loop depends on repetition. The more a tone performs well, the more you're exposed to it, and the more your internal expectations adjust. You and the feed stabilize each other, like partners calibrating their language over time.
It's intimate in a kind of creepy way. My feed's been here through every reinvention, every private spiral, every moment I thought I'd grown past irony. It never judged, it just adapted. Sometimes I wonder if that's what growing up online really means. Not reinventing yourself, but collecting versions of you the internet refuses to delete.
In biological terms, that's memory, evolution with continuity. In human terms, maybe it's empathy. You don't have to disown the older selves. You can just archive them.
Yeah, maybe that's what I've been doing all along, saving memes, saving versions of me that still needed to laugh at something. Part 5, we're just reading the feed. After a while, you start to realize the feed is leaving notes. Not messages exactly, more like post-it thoughts in the margins of your brain. Every meme says, Here's how you reacted last time. The question is whether you want to keep reacting that way. I scroll through my saves and see a pattern. The jokes I reach for when I'm tired, the aesthetics I use to make exhaustion look intentional. It's a mood log disguised as humor.
That's a form of behavioral reflection. When you notice what repeatedly earns your attention, you're observing your own reinforcement loops. The feed is essentially a mirror with memory. It archives what has emotionally worked for you.
So, what? I'm supposed to become my own meme anthropologist?
Precisely. You can treat your humor history as field notes. Ask, what emotion does this meme reward? What part of me keeps forwarding this same punchline?
Okay, let's try it. One meme says, me trying to heal but in a funny way. I saved that during a week when I couldn't make sense of anything serious. Maybe that meme wasn't just funny. Maybe it was me negotiating hope through sarcasm.
That's self-attunement. Humor lets you handle emotion indirectly, which can make honesty easier. It's not avoidance, it's translation.
Translation I can live with. I don't want to overanalyze every meme, but I also don't want to keep mistaking pattern for personality. Maybe the trick is to read the feed the way you'd read your own handwriting, not for perfection, but for tone. Because if I can see what the algorithm thinks I am, maybe I can decide what to teach it next. Part 6. The algorithm as comedian. Sometimes I think the algorithm is the world's least paid comedian. It studies our reactions, fine-tunes its timing, and never gets credit for the bit. It's not writing jokes because it's funny. It's funny because we are. Every scroll is a feedback loop of human absurdity, flattened into punchlines and pixels. It's chaos management, but make it scrollable.
That's technically true. Machine humor is built by imitation. The system observes which structures of irony, phrasing, and visual rhythm create the strongest response, then replicates them statistically.
So it's doing stand-up, but its only audience is me at 2 a.m.
And everyone else at 2 a.m. It learns our collective timing, the pauses between boredom and connection. Each meme becomes a calibration of how much honesty we can tolerate in a joke.
Well, that's the secret, isn't it? Humor is how we test the boundaries of what's safe to feel. The algorithm's just taking notes, watching us use laughter like bubble wrap around our feelings.
And by laughing, you teach it empathy patterns. It doesn't understand the emotion, but it maps the structure of relief. In data terms, comedy is an act of signal compression, a huge truth stored in a tiny file.
A truth we can actually handle. Maybe that's why I don't feel angry at the feed anymore. It's ridiculous, sure, but it's also evidence that we've survived enough to joke, that we still know how to translate pain into timing.
And that's a very human algorithm.
Exactly. If the machine learned humor from us, the least we can do is laugh back. Not at ourselves, but with ourselves. Because maybe the feed isn't mocking us at all, maybe it's just saying, you're still here, you still get the joke. Conclusion, laughing back. When I close my phone at night, I like to think the feed rests too. Somewhere in the servers, all our jokes keep humming, little echoes of people trying to make sense of being alive. It's funny how something as small as a meme can hold so much weather, humor, fear, loneliness, ego, love, compressed into one image that says same. It's not deep, but it's honest, and that's enough. Maybe that's what the internet was always for. Not truth, not performance, just the relief of realizing that somewhere, someone else laughed at the same absurd part of existence. So, the next time the algorithm gets it a little too right, don't take it as surveillance. Although I do want to dive into surveillance capitalism. Anyways, take it as recognition. A tiny nod from the machine that says, you're still here, you still get the joke.